Hey, good morning, everybody. We continue to ask the experts right here on News 96.5. If you have a question, all you need to do is dial us up at 855-297-9696. That's 855-297-9696. You can text us at 21232. That's 21232. What's the name of the show? It's the Andrey Bustamante Show, brought to you by GuaranteedSale.com. Free home evaluations in under 30 seconds. And BestOrlandoMLSSearch.com. And Fidelity National Title. Andrey Bustamante is 888-785-0440, 888-785-0440, AndreyBustamante.com, AndreyBustamante.com. And again, Florida recognized as one of the fastest growing areas in the United States this past week by the federal government. And right in the middle of all of those home sales and resales and getting it all done for people and estate building is the one and only Andrey Bustamante, supporting a little shadow today, looking a little Miami Vicey, bud. What's going on?
Hey, fantastic, man. Just a wonderful weekend thus far, and couldn't miss this show for the world. I was tired, man. We were all day yesterday on the boat with my dad. So we got him a boat about a week and a half ago, or last weekend, I think was when we got him the boat. And we were out hanging out in Cocoa Beach yesterday. Matter of fact, I just found out Luis was there too. So
yeah, Luis, he's our photographer. He puts these shows on YouTube right there, so you can watch Andrey Bustamante and I do the show, and you can watch the whole thing. It's really, really cool, and you can see all the things that go on in the studio behind the scenes. It's really fun. It's not just a couple of guys sitting around with some microphones. We got Tim. We got all kinds of engineers, people running around. But it's a fun show to do. If you got a question for Andrey, 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696. Selling lakefront and oceanfront and canalfront, riverfront homes is fun, isn't it?
Those are fun, man. Absolutely. So we've been in the business for 10 years, and we've sold, probably half a dozen, 2 dozen, lakefront properties and lakefront, canalfront, riverfront properties. So it's definitely fun. There's not too many riverfront here in Central Florida, at least not that I know of. So we have those. We kind of have to go out more into the outskirts, but we have a blast. Matter of fact, Luis has actually shot a bunch of them for us, and it's fun because all these properties have character. And people, it's not the square footage like we always talk about. It's the lifestyle. And anytime you're selling lakefront, riverfront, oceanfront, we've done a couple of those here on the show as well. Those definitely provide the lifestyle. And I mean, that's the lifestyle I love. So it's easy for us to be able to sell that value onto a prospective buyer. So it's awesome. And the way we market them, it's unbelievable.
Well, the one that you showed, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 months ago, you had one on your site that was oceanfront. I believe it was Melbourne.
Yeah.
And showed the drone flying in from over the ocean, showing the couple on the front porch, or the balcony, actually, of the second floor. Absolutely breathtaking, stunning video. And that's what your company offers. It's not just the guy who comes up. I saw it this week. I thought of you because a guy pulls up on my block. And there's a house that's was a FSBO, and it's on my block, and evidently some, ABC, DEFG real estate company picked it up, slapped the sign in the front yard, goes out, and I kid you not, he reached in on his dashboard was his iPhone, and he stood by his car, and he steadied the iPhone on top of his car, and he started taking pictures.
Yeah.
He got in the car and drove off.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, man, is that what you're going to do? Are you going to do what Andrey says people do? I can't believe it.
Yeah, people do that. And, what I find is if it's a nice iPhone, like one of the iPhone 6s or the new ones, it'll take good pictures. But you'll never be able to replace a professional photographer's pictures with an iPhone 6. I mean, it's not going to come out the same way. Certain angles, you'll probably get close. But it's not gonna be the same. No way. I mean, just because the lens is completely different.
Yeah.
And then the pictures is just one thing. Then you're talking video, and then there's so many other things. So as a seller, we've talked about it in the past. Whenever you see an agent whip out their iPhone, or what's really bad is the digital camera that's probably as old as the agent. You don't want you just stop them dead on their tracks.
Yeah, and I was thinking, He's not taking any interior shots. And what made it worse, Andre, was the lady of the house had taken the little rug that's out there on your patio, and she had put it over the railing to dry because it had rained that day.
Oh,
so,
wow.
I mean, right in the picture, here's the rug hanging over a rail, and I'm thinking, does this real estate agent even care? I mean, what is the deal?
Yeah. And by the way, just because you have professional photography doesn't mean that you could skip out on all these other steps. You know, you don't want to have a professional photographer and then have crap all over your kitchen counter or your bathrooms, or have your bed undone, or, you know, just a bunch of things laying around, you know, your garden. You want to make sure your house is nice and it's done correctly. So pick up after yourself.
You have taught me this. If somebody wants to sell their house, and of course you're going to call Andre to sell it, but when you do that, go out and go to the first model home that you can find near your house, and look at the way it's staged, and then go back to your house and walk in as a buyer would and go, oh God, I got a lot of work to do. But you do. Andre has taught me this. You're selling a product.
Absolutely, man. One of the things I want to discuss that this week is mistakes that sellers and buyers make. And
good idea.
It's kind of in line. So Rob and I do multiple shows during the week.
We're all over the place.
And, you know, we cover a huge territory. So anything from Sumter County, Marion County, Volusia, Brevard. What else do we cover? Volusia, Brevard, Seminole, Orange, obviously. Those are easy
all
for
this
us.
Down here, all the way down to
Osceola
Tampa.
County, Lake County, Polk County. We have partners, you know, the Andrew Duncan team or the Duncan Duo team down in Tampa that works with us. So he covers all of Hillsborough and what's the other county down there?
Oh, you got Pinellas and Hillsborough right there together.
So, you know, if you're listening to this show, we can certainly help you with all things real estate. And you know what's really cool? So, well, let me announce what we're going to talk about during the show, because we end up getting carried away. We have so much fun with this show. So we're going to talk about mistakes that sellers and buyers make, right? And there's so many mistakes that sellers make. I mean, just from hiring the wrong agent to the way they photograph, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to cover all sorts of things sellers, you know, do and costly mistakes to avoid to put tens of thousands and thousands of dollars in your pocket. Same thing with buyers. So we'll also be covering that. And one of them, it's a seller that contacted me this week. So we have an appointment set up, and if she's listening to the show, well, this is, you know, a little bit of an idea what we're going to discuss. So I get an email from someone saying, hey, will you sell my house for 3%? I'll sell your house for X. It doesn't matter. The percentage does not matter. I'm not necessarily in the business of making all my money from one client. I'm in the business of positively impacting people's lives. With that being said, if I sell your house for X percent, you know, I want you to understand the outcome that's going to generate. So a lot of people get tied up into this whole, well, let me find the agent that will do it for the least amount of money. So let me give you kind of a glimpse of what we're going to talk about in handling this issue. So if you hire an agent that's only, you know, you're only paying him or her 3%, it's really difficult for that agent to work for you, because chances are they're going to have to co-broke, you know, 2.5% or 3% or whatever percentage out to the cooperating agent that brings a buyer. Otherwise, you know, you're not going to put the house out to the masses and it's not going to sell. What ends up happening is you end up shooting yourself in the foot, because you tell an agent that doesn't know what they're doing, do it for 3%. The agent says, all right, I'll do it for 3%. What does that mean? They cut out the area. Yeah, you hear me. They cut out the cooperating agents, which there's like 15,000 of them out there. So if I'm selling a house, put it this way, even if I'm selling like my parents' house, I would not cut out the cooperating agent. We are where we are because all the awesome cooperating agents that we work with. We market and we negotiate and we put the house out there really amazing on a silver platter. And all of these awesome cooperating agents, they help us get the house sold. So when you tell an agent, will you do it for X amount, 2%, 2.5%, 3% total, they're cutting out these 15,000 agents. Gosh. So what that means is you're cutting out like 80, 90% of possibility of that house even selling. So then at that point, you're only relying on that person's database and their marketing techniques. And if they're willing to do it for 3%, chances are they don't have a database, they don't have a marketing budget, they don't have any anyone to market it to. They're literally going to do the 3 Ps. And what are the 3 Ps, Mr. Rob Newton?
Oh, they put it in the MLS.
There you go. One.
They take a picture. Where's the P in that picture?
They put in the MLS, put a sign in the front yard, and then they sit back and pray.
Pray. And it ain't going to happen. And then what I always say to this is, but when you pick up the phone and you call Tim, who's your leasing or who's your real estate agent, and say, Tim, I'm not getting the results I want. I guarantee you, Tim, not our producer Tim, but another Tim would say, no, I got an open house scheduled for Friday. I was just about to call you. I've got 20 people coming over. Then they call 20 of their friends that owe them favors and say,
hey, can you swing by and eat some cookies for free?
Go with me, man, because I'm about to lose this listing. I'm going to lose $3,000 or $4,000. Don't fall for that nonsense. How often do you communicate with the people you're selling homes for?
So I'm glad you mentioned that. So what we do, me personally, I'll probably talk to my sellers probably once a month personally. My staff and my team is available 7 days a week to talk to all my sellers, and they talk to our sellers probably once every 2 weeks. And we have technology set up where our sellers should be getting, on average, at least a touch from us at least once every 2 weeks.
That's brilliant.
Showing what we do in terms of Realtor.com activity, Zillow activity, etc. The challenge we have, Rob, is that the majority of our houses sell between 30, 60. The ones that take a long time are the ones that's, maybe 90 days. So there's not really that much communication that goes on in 30 days.
Doesn't have to be.
We meet, house goes on the market, 2 weeks later, we get an offer. Sometimes houses take a little longer than that, and then that's when we're really challenged at that point because we're like, all right, well, we got to communicate a little longer, but we got a team in place that handles that for us.
All right, it's Andrey Bustamante, and we're going to give his contact information when we get back. We're going to give you everything you need to know, and we're going to come back and take your calls at 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696. Andrey Bustamante Show, as we ask the experts on News 96.5. Yes, indeed. It's Andrey Bustamante, the Andrey Bustamante Show. That's who we're talking to. This guy is synonymous with the word real estate. There you go. If you ever need to call Andrey, buying, selling, thinking about investing in real estate, whatever it is, you just go right ahead, 888-785-0440. That's 888-785-0440. AndreyBustamante.com. And this show is powered by GuaranteedSale.com, BestOrlandoMLSSearch.com, and Fidelity National Title. You got to make sure that the title is right when you get yourself into a home, or you'll end up like I did one day with a bulldozer in your front yard saying your house is over 2 lots from where it's supposed to be. Nope, went to the title company, everything was figured out. Anyway, we're taking your calls right now at 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696. Text us at 21232, 21232. I'm telling you, Andre, that actually happened. Came home one day, there was a bulldozer in my front yard, and the guy said, your house is on the wrong lot. And I said, what are you going to do, tear it down? He said, no, I'm just taking part of your yard and making it a driveway for a house that's going to be next to you.
Wow.
We had to go to the title company and found out there were 2 different surveys for that area of the state, because back when it was all orchards and groves, well, you had grove owners selling, and I'll sell you these 3 tracts, I'll sell you those 3 tracts. And so there are how many plats down at the courthouse?
That's got to be so tricky for those poor surveyors and the people that work at the courthouse, man.
Oh, yeah, and it is. So that's why you got to have good title. And when you have Fidelity National Title, they got you all the way.
They're good. They're solid, man. And we keep them busy, and so do a lot of other agents. So this is a huge shout out to them. So anybody that's looking for a great, dependable title company, we work with a few of the best, and Fidelity's our top dog, and they do a great job for us. So for any agent out there that's looking for a great title company, Fidelity National Title, they got offices all over Central Florida. They're a Fortune 500 company. They're worldwide. I mean, they're just amazing. Their fees are low. Their people are great. They close, and then these ladies, man, they'll stay there as late as they have to stay. Anything for the client, and that's what we really, really appreciate.
Now, tell me about the mistakes that people make out there. That's a good topic.
Oh man, there's so many mistakes. So let's talk about some just simple seller mistakes. All right. So we've talked about hiring, making emotional decisions, not becoming emotionally detached from the process. So they do crazy things like, well, let's go ahead and hire a friend. We don't want to piss off our friends. So, honey, there's Andrey Bustamante. We've heard, and people tell me this all the time during the week. Mm-hmm. Well, we've been listening to you for 3 or 4 years. We know we should have hired you when we first started, but we hired a friend. We didn't want to damage that relationship that is damaged now. So they end up hiring a friend. That doesn't work out, and being the fact that it's a friend, they don't know what to tell this person, and they don't want to kind of step on the relationship, and they just kind of let them do their thing for 6 months. Maybe they extended another 6 months to be nice to the agent, and then that doesn't work out. Second mistake is they price the house based on their emotional attachment to the home. I'll be honest. If I were to price my own house tomorrow without getting an appraisal and an inspection, man, I'm so emotionally attached to my house, I'd probably overprice it myself.
Well, sure.
Because you're emotionally attached. But so they do that. They'll say, well, I got X amount of money into this house, so I'm going to price it at this. And they know there's platforms out there like Zillow, which is national, like Guaranteed Sale, which is more of a local, more accurate ranges, or they can simply pick up the phone and call us and say, hey, Andre, what do you think this house is worth? Call my team and we'll handle that for them. But they're they want to avoid any of that. And they just say, well, I got this much into the house. I want this much. So they'll do that for 6 months or a year and realize, man, that was the wrong strategy. Or mistake number 3 would be, I need to get this much money. Mm-hmm. The next house is going to be X amount. So I need to get X amount for my house. Folks, the market does not care what you need to get for your house.
Don't care where you're going.
Doesn't matter. Your house is a product, and it's worth, like a product. You got to market it, based on the marketability of that product. Mm-hmm. So other mistakes that sellers would do is, of course, they'll hire agents simply based on commission. So they end up hiring the worst agent that without a marketing plan, and you get what you pay for. It's an old saying, and it couldn't be more true in real estate. So don't hire an agent based on commission. And don't hire an agent based on price. Price is irrelevant. Can't tell you the amount of people that call me and say, what will you do it for? Well, you have flexible commission plans. What do you want to pay? And what do you think my house is worth? What a buyer is willing to pay? When would you like to meet? It's easy. I work with people, not houses. A house is a byproduct. So the commission doesn't matter, and the price of the home doesn't matter. Let's first see if we're a good fit. If I like you and you like me. Other things that they will do. So they won't even inspect the house.
Oh, come on!
It's like selling a car. And the buyer knows a ton about your car, because they're on there and they got the Carfax report and they got all these things. So when it comes to houses, not getting a house inspected is the stupidest thing you could do as a seller. Yeah. Because that contract that you sign is contingent to an appraisal and contingent to the inspection. So why wouldn't you get that inspection report and also that appraisal? Because if you go under contract at X price, let's call it $300,000. And then the buyer's going to go ahead and take you to the cleaners, when they get the appraisal and the inspection. So those are other mistakes. So when we come back, we're gonna wrap that one up, and then we're gonna talk about buyer mistakes that that are very, very, very costly. But there's a bunch of other ones that sellers will make when the house is on the market, such as following buyers around the house when the buyers are trying to actually see if it'll be a good fit for them. So there's a few other ones.
When we come back, we're going to look at the person coming to tour your house and some of the mistakes you make. All right, 855-297-9696 is the number right here. Give us a call, 855-297-9696. We'll be back right after the news. That's right, Andrey Bustamante taking off those gloves and getting out there and fighting to sell your home or to help you buy the home of your dreams. Andrey Bustamante, 888-785-0440. Andre with a Y, Bustamante.com, AndreyBustamante.com. Free home evaluations in under 30 seconds by using GuaranteedSale.com, BestOrlandoMLSSearch.com, and Fidelity National Title. Right before the break, we were talking about those of you that might be selling your house and some of the mistakes that you might make because you are not coached and a teammate of Andrey Bustamante. And so we were at that point where, okay, people are coming to look at your home, and you're going to be there. So let's take it from there, Andrey. What kind of behavior or misbehavior are we doing?
Really quick, huge shout out to Steve and Paul. I was out actually in Cocoa Beach, and I'm trying to find out the bait shop where we were at. Actually, I got an awesome picture here. So huge shout out. I went fishing with my dad yesterday out in Cocoa Beach, and Paul and Steve, I'm trying to get their company name. I'll give it to you guys here in a second. They hooked us up big time yesterday. So I really want to say thank you guys. We're not really that big into out, offshore fishing. But it's called Chum It Up Live Bait and Tackle. I'm sure we'll go back there, and I think you should too. They're huge fans of the show. It's funny, we pulled up, we loaded all the stuff, and we're pretty down to earth people, and we love to get advice anytime we're doing something new. So we're like, hey man, just load us up, tell us what we got to do, where to go fish. And these guys, Paul and Steve, are really, really nice. They hooked us up big time, told us where to go, and we actually caught, not that many. We caught 2 fish. Ain't bad. But it was 2. Okay, it could have. Guys, don't laugh at me, man. It could have been a lot worse. So our wives, we said this was a strategy, no lie. We said if we don't catch anything, we're gonna go buy some fish and we're gonna bring them home.
There you go. I always do my fishing at Publix. I find it really, really good, fresh, good seafood. They've cooked it. They've done it all. I don't really have to do a lot as a bachelor, Anyway, so somebody's going to – there you go. So I cooked a bunch of shrimp in my house, and the house smelled like shrimp, and I had buyers come walking through.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, folks. It's all about how things look, smell, and it's that perception. You want to do that. So, what was your question in regards to other seller mistakes?
Yeah, people are going to.
We got a big one.
Somebody's cranking the bait. You never know when Tim, our producer, never know what he's going to be doing. I think he caught one. He got one. Okay. It's a crappie.
We heard a lot of that yesterday, but every time we reeled it in, nothing would come up. We get a couple weeds.
No, you got to go do that with the Magic Mechanic. He's crazy into that stuff.
Hey,
he was shrimping last night, Saturday night. Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to this. Okay, somebody's going to come and go to the house, and I used to do this. I'm guilty. I'm sorry. I did it. People come to our house to look at it. I used to follow them around. Hey, look at this. Look at that.
Oh, you were one of those?
See what I did? Look at this closet we put in the other month, and I put in that wall all by myself.
So
I'm sorry I used to do
that. I'm sorry for you. You probably lost some money there.
I did.
So I've actually, as an agent, I've been on the buyer agent side of it, and as a listing agent, I've been on the listing side of it. And it's as a buyer's agent, there's nothing that pisses, at least for me, there's nothing that pisses off an agent more than a seller trying to do the showing for them. The agent's there for a reason. They took off Saturday and Sunday to, rather than spend time with their family, they're sacrificing, for a good cause to help out their clients find their dream house. And the seller's sitting there taking like an hour or 2 hours, showing them every little thing that they did to the house and trying to justify the value, which is nice and we appreciate it. And I'm not saying don't say anything during the showing. If it's something that's really, important that you have to point it out and then just leave, just kind of take the dog for a walk or get in the car with your wife and just leave for 20, 30 minutes, an hour, and then come back, see if they're still there. That's a good sign. Just take another drive. Don't say, hey, are you guys done yet? No, just go for another ride around the neighborhood and then come back. You don't want to follow and stalk the buyer and the agent because they're going to feel uncomfortable and they're going to get in and out of there before you know it. And then you're going to wonder, man, I've had so many showings and nobody's buying it. It's your fault.
And the other thing, I remember being a kid And so there's probably some kids out there listening go, oh,
yeah.
God, I hope he doesn't tell this story because I did the same thing. Anyway, when I was a kid, I remember I really loved our house, and I kind of wanted to stay. And I didn't want to lose my treehouse in the backyard and my little basketball court and all that. And I remember following the buyers through the house going, hey, Dad, isn't that water heater that you said's about to go bad?
Oh, man.
I thought he was going to kill me.
So you were bad on every level then, it seems like.
Kill me. But have you ever had a tour where the kids say something, that they shouldn't say?
Not that I'm aware of.
Good job.
Not that I'm aware of. But I've been in a tour where the seller, and multiple times. I guess it's a common theme here. So, of course, we're taking a few, moments of our paid programming here to inform every homeowner, every home seller, if you're selling your house, don't stalk the buyer. So right. That's that. We want to beat it to death. So other things that you want to do, and I got a couple really, 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 really good ones here. You want to make sure, and we've discussed this in the show in the past, you want to make sure you stage the house. Folks, there's nothing better than staging, right? So you could sit here, and I know staging, especially if you're living in the house, it's a pain in the butt. I would think if I was going to sell my house tomorrow, I don't even know, Rob, where I would start. I got 3 kids and a wife. Thank God I don't have any pets. I red lighted that one to my wife. She's like, I want a dog. No, we got enough with 3 kids. So I don't even know where I'd begin, but certainly I'd hire a professional. We work with Janine Edwards over at IDI Home Staging. Interiors Defined is the full name of the company. Yeah. So we definitely bring in a professional and stage the house, stage the sucker, because I think my house is fine, but I'm how do you say it? I'm immune to all the negative things about my house. I'm sure there's some negative things to it. So I'm immune to it already because I live in the place. So I'd certainly bring in a professional, make sure you stage the property, and look at staging this way. It's a small investment. It's a lot better than multiple price reductions. And think of it this way as well. It reduces your days on the market. So if you have to prep for the show for, say, 30 or 60 or 90 days, it's a lot better than preparing every single, weekend, for showings for a year or 2 years or 3 years. I've had sellers that came to us, said, Andre, we've been trying to sell my house for 6 years. I said, ooh,
that's gotta get
what
old.
Happened?
Old.
6 agents later, $400,000 in price reductions. I said, oh, I don't want to be a part of that list.
Well, the other thing I think of is the people need to be very, very thoughtful about the fact that the little box thing on their door handle is so realtors can show the house during the day while you're at work. So you got to make sure that house is staged properly. When you get up in the morning, every bed's got to get made. Everything's got to be in model home condition. Am I right in that?
Absolutely. And you want to make sure that you're making your house available through that lockbox. That lock, I have heard, and this is a sad story, I have heard of more people getting killed, more agents getting killed than belongings being stolen from houses. When was the last time you heard on the news, such and such, they got their Rolex stolen, or they got this stolen or that stolen because, they had a lockbox on their door?
No.
I've never heard of that. I've heard people getting killed.
Yeah. Now I've heard. Has the industry changed a little bit? Is that why you're supposed to go to the office of the realtor instead of just meeting them at the house? I mean,
I would.
Security
if you're
wise,
opening, and that's a great point. If you're opening your life financially, you're bringing this person in your circle of trust. If you have kids, you don't know this agent. You may have heard of them online or on the radio or on TV or a friend recommended, but you don't know this person. Don't invite them in your house without going and checking out where their office is.
And vice versa. Remember that woman realtor that was killed about 6-7 months ago?
With buyers, you want to meet people in the office first. And one of the things we do, because we have a handful of lady realtors, and we tell them and remind them over and over again, that buyer that's in the conference room, make sure you get a copy of their license.
Very good idea.
You want to make sure you do that. So other things, just so we could wrap up the seller side of it, you don't want to assume that the buyer, just because they say their financing is ready to go, you don't want to assume that their financing is in order. What I would recommend to all sellers is make sure, find a mortgage company, a local mortgage company that you feel comfortable with, and just tell your agent, listen, I want to, and hopefully that's us, the Andrey Bustamante team. We sell more houses than most in the area, so we would love to earn your business. business. But if it's not us, want to make sure that you tell your agent, well, just for as a precautionary method, let's make sure that the buyer is pre-approved through a local lender. There's a lot of internet lenders out there, et cetera, that they're not running people's credit. So they give you a pre-qualification, the buyer presents it to the seller, they sign the deal, 30, 60 days later, oh, something came up the day before closing.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. The other thing, I'm going to just wrap it up here. The other thing you don't want to do, and this is why you don't want to be present at the showings, and this seems like this has turned out into like a seminar, you don't want to be present because that opens up a can of worms. The buyer and the agent, they're going to interview you the whole time. First question is why you're selling. Well, what are you willing to take for the property? You don't want, and obviously that's unethical if the agent is asking it, but the buyer can ask it all day.
Well, sure.
You don't want to put yourself in that position. And trust me, you or your wife or your husband, somebody's going to open their mouth and you're going to end up like elbowing them and say, why did you see that? You don't want to say more than what you need to. And that's the reason you hire a professional. There's been so many times where, but I told him I was willing to take $20,000 less because we had a little bit of wiggle room. We priced it at $395, but we're willing to take $370. Oh, there goes $25,000.
Right down the drain. Hey, we're going to open up those phone lines. I've got 5 open lines right now just for you to talk to Andrey Bustamante at 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696. He is the expert in real estate. Give us a call or text us at 21232. 21232. We'll be back. Andrey Bustamante Show on 96.5. All right, there we go. We're 11:54, and we do want to thank our own photographer. We got Luis here, and he does a very, very good job. But we do have a caller from a very nice gentleman by the name of Kevin, and he just wants you to reiterate the importance of photography when it comes to real estate. And I think, Kevin, that's a great question because, Luis can't do it all.
Absolutely. Well, I think if my clients were here on the show, I think they would tell you it's put tens of thousands of dollars into their pocket because of our marketing, which consists of professional photography. It's huge. I can't tell you and if you Google, bad photography or bad real estate photography versus before and after pictures, you'll see a huge difference. Luckily, we have a lot of that. I actually got a load of all these examples too and case studies to my site. But these are listings, for example, that have been in the market for 6 months, or a year. And then you see multiple price reductions. And then we take the property on board. We do professional. We don't reduce the price, by the way. We do professional photography. Sometimes we do digital staging if it's a vacant property, or we do normal staging if it's an occupied residence. And property sells at the list price, which was the same that the other agent could not sell it at, or sometimes even a slightly above. So photography, depending on your price point, I'm going to say if your price point is $200,000, I would feel comfortable accounting photography being at least anywhere from 3 to 6% of the value of the house. Bad photography can cost you a ton of money. Huge. Most agents, the MLS allows for 25 pics. Most agents put a lot less than that, and they'll just take it from their car. People are visual. And
picture's worth 1,000 words.
If photography was not as important, you would not see huge companies, huge resorts, Disney, Universal, brands like Rolex and every store you could see at Millennium Mall. You see all their images, all the photography they use. It's amazing. Yeah. These people must pay tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for these images.
And look at car ads, the national car ads.
Yeah.
They'll show that car in every matter of circumstances. And usually if it is a Honda, I've noticed, they're showing it usually in front of a very, very nice, beautiful home. That shows that is the whole
it's a family
package.
Car.
Yeah, it's the whole package. So I think photography is great. Kevin, I want to thank you for your endeavors.
Absolutely.
And I think any photographer that can really just see through that lens and make that house look different than it really looks to the eye And there are photographers who can do that. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And Luis does that for us. Another thing is, and I'm going to wrap up this question with that. I definitely do want to think Kevin's question is the fact that people, they have all the tools online, right? So when they're looking at Zillow, they're looking at Guaranteed Sale, they're looking at our site or Realtor.com, they're looking at reasons not to see that house. Because you back in the day, you remember, Rob, agents used to have these books, these MLS listing books, right? So they used to hold all the information, and it was close to them. The public would not have any of this information. Right. Nowadays, the public probably has more information than we do. Amen. As agents. However, we have the expertise and we can guide them in different ways, and that's the reason people come to us. But with that being said, people look at listings on the MLS for reasons not to see them. So what we do is we try to put everything about that house out there, and the photography allows us to do that. It allows us to put open light pictures, show all the spaces, and now on top of photography, we do video. So the video is awesome. It's really your first showing is online through these video tours that we do. And you can see them online. Really quick, mistakes that buyers make, and I'm going to wrap this up in like a minute. Mistakes that buyers make, they'll do things like, going out and starting to look at properties without getting pre-approved. They'll be misled by internet lenders. Well, I found this lender that will give me a 2% interest rate. Well, it's bogus. For lack of, and to put it any other simpler way, it's bogus. It's not true. They're not going to close. They're not going to fund. So don't be misled. So mistakes. Don't be misled by bogus offers online for mortgage pre-approvals. Hire an agent. Make sure that even if you're paying cash, make sure you're getting the property inspected, get a survey done, get it appraised. Hire a professional to represent you throughout the entire process. Don't necessarily call the guy on the sign. Now, if we're the guy in the sign, I'd love for you to call us because we have a buyer agent team and a listing agent team. So one agent is not going to represent you on both transactions. And if that happens, it's probably like 1 or 2% out of all the transactions that we do. But seldom do we ever get into that type of arrangement. We'd rather have one person represent you and be exclusive to you.
Okay, so it's Andrey Bustamante, 888-785-0440, 888-785-0440. Andrey with a Y, Bustamante.com. And Andrey, I'll catch you this week on Monday and Wednesday, I think.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Good job.
It's been a pleasure.
Bye-bye.